All right, let's talk about the new Seattle Seahawks quarterback, Sam Darnold himself, who, again, it was a weird thing that the Seahawks did, right? Trading away Geno Smith and then acquiring Sam Darnold. I think they view it as, hey, we're getting a draft pick and getting a little bit younger as well at the position. But let's talk about Sam Darnold himself, what he brings to the table for the Minnesota Vikings. There are a lot of nice things that things I think he did a really good job of doing last year with the Vikings. A play like this is a good example where it's going to be a zone coverage concept, and you have three key receivers here. One running a deep route, one running a route that's kind of going further deep but then cutting towards the outside, and then your halfback underneath as your check down route. Watch as when Darnold runs this play action. As of right here, okay, are either of these two options open? Well, they don't appear as though they're going to be getting open, right? There are three Seattle Seahawks who are kind of surrounding those two Vikings players, so feels like no matter where they cut, someone is going to be covering them. So let's look at the check down, right? Is that open? Yeah, that's open. We'll see how open it gets, but that is the read you want to make at this point. So Darnold doesn't really hesitate, reads the play well, gets the ball over there, and is able to pick up some yards. That is the biggest way Darnold has improved since coming over to Minnesota, is just his processing. And, again, a lot of people like to say, oh, well, with the Jets, what was he supposed to do? It was such a bad situation. There wasn't zero plays that worked with the Jets. There were some mistakes that he made as well and struggled to process certain plays, the famous seeing ghost game, right? But here, you've seen him just improve upon that in a big way, and he should be able to do that well with Seattle. This one's another one where you're going to see that, I'm picking tape against the Seahawks because he played well against Seattle, which is ironic enough. But you see man coverage across the board for the Seattle Seahawks against the Minnesota Vikings. And as you see, Darnold is going to take the snap. First, he looks towards his left. Does he love what he sees there? Well, not really, so he's going to look elsewhere. Watch him now get over to the bottom of the screen, where at this point, is that route open? Yeah, that route appears as though it's about to get open, so that's where Darnold is going to fire. And as you see, he is going to get over and, hit Jordan Addison. The reality is, Darnold pays attention to the entire field. If you're running a route, you got to make sure that you hustle, even if the read is somewhere else, because he could eventually get over to you, and you want to make sure that you're open if he does. That's just how he operates. Although I will say that I do think that there is a negative aspect of that as well that we can talk about, where, okay, it's good to see the whole field. The downside is a play like this, which, in fact, we can just talk about those last two games of the season that, no doubt about it, were not great. But this is the downside of, I think, Sam Darnold, where you see that there's going to be a receiver running a route over the middle. Worth noting, this was on a 4th down and 2. The Vikings were not doing too well, needed to try and convert here, put some points on the board at the end of the half. Darnold takes the snap, and is this play going to get wide open here? No, it isn't. And you would kind of like Hawkinson to be looking right now instead of finishing his route. If you make this throw, it is a challenge. But at the same time, it's 4th and 2. The ball has to come out of your hands, right? Well, he decides to hold on and look for something else, kind of tries to juke out a defensive lineman. It doesn't work. You get sacked, and you never even get to throw the ball down the field, again, on a 4th down, where a interception is just as bad as a incompletion, and honestly is better because you're pushing the ball further down the field. Now, to sack, you lose yards. Definitely took too many sacks in that game, and that is the issue, is if things aren't open, you see him hold on to the ball for too long, which can allow defensive linemen to get there. So that is just something that happens. And also in the Lions game especially, he missed some throws. He missed some throws in both of those two games. This one's an example where, watch what happens. Darnold's going to take the snap right here. He eventually looks over to Jefferson, and again, does a pretty good job at looking over quickly and all of that. He processes these plays quickly. Jefferson's now open. He felt like there was a tug earlier than this, but at this point, there isn't going to be any tug or anything. Darnold just throws this one a bit off, and Jefferson can't make the grab right there. That's a throw you want to make, right? It just is. And because he overthrows it, he actually overthrew Jefferson a couple times in this sequence. They had to settle for a field goal instead of a touchdown. Or actually, if I remember correctly, I think they went for it on 4th and didn't convert was what happened. So, yeah, you're leaving 7 points on the board. That's never good. So, he had those bad games. It is what it is. That doesn't take away from the good games that he had throughout the course of the season, though. And one of the things he did really well as well were things like this, so what's going to happen here is this is a zone coverage concept. It's a cover 2 zone. So, okay, that's the play. Darnold takes a snap, he looks around, and nothing is open. So as I said, okay, when nothing is open, he holds on to the ball for too long sometimes. But there is a positive in that as well. There's pressure coming off his blind side. You'd think this is a bad situation, but when he holds on to the ball, it's not that he only takes sacks. Because watch how he's going to start scrambling out and actually is able to get a little bit extra time there. He can do this as well, and if he does, this is how you can get more positives to come out. As you see, he throws a catchable ball. It was not complete, but it was a catchable ball, and a good play from Sam Darnold, finding ways to keep plays alive to make good things happen. So you're going to get some positives and some negatives out of this. That's just kind of what you have to know going in, and you just hope the positive outweighs the negative. Usually it did last year. In the Seattle Seahawks game, the good outweighed the bad. In the playoff game and in the Lions game, the bad outweighed the good. But ultimately, usually, the good outweighs the bad. And also, I gotta talk about this play. I just gotta talk about it. I could try to make it into a larger point, but I just want to talk about it. In my head, this is the play that got the Seattle Seahawks to say, let's go out and get Sam Darnold instead of having Geno Smith on our roster next year. It was this play. So, the game situation, the Minnesota Vikings were currently down 4 points at this point. It's a first down and 10, but still, you're down 4 points with under 4 minutes to go. You want to make sure that you can score a touchdown to take the lead, right? Simple enough. So you have Jefferson running a route that's going to get into a gap in coverage, kind of underneath the safety, but past the corner. Okay, usually these gaps are pretty small, but there usually is a gap there. Darnold's going to take the snap. He runs a play action, looks in that direction, actually has to step up in the pocket a little bit because there was pressure behind him. However, unfortunately, as he was doing that, pressure from up the middle has now emerged. So he's essentially stepped into pressure. Not really his fault. It just worked out this way. The thing is, Jefferson is maybe open, but this would take a perfect throw, and it would take a perfect throw with a clean pocket, which is not what Darnold has here. But watch as he gets clobbered, but still makes a beautiful throw, and they score a touchdown. I still think that that is the best throw of the year last year. I don't think I saw something better than that. And hey, the people in the front office for Seattle were probably at this game watching, seeing a play like this, and I'm sure that stuck in their minds a little bit of, oh my God, this kind of ended their season. This play, what a job by Darnold to make that happen. So, yeah, ultimately, what are my thoughts on Sam Darnold to the Seattle Seahawks? Again, you have to view him and Geno Smith and kind of compare them a little bit. Darnold is a younger player. I think Darnold's a little bit less polished, but also can do things that Geno Smith can't, like this play I just showed you. And the fact that he still is just 27, I think that you can hope that he can potentially even improve his game in certain ways. So, yeah, it's certainly a weird move and not one you often see, but it's not one that I'm going to completely crush either, I think. But, yeah, those are my thoughts on all of this. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And, of course, as always, thanks for watching. Hey, thanks for watching to the end of that video. I do appreciate it. If you want to see my other channel, Jackson Kruger Movies, where I talk about movies, give some film reviews and stuff like that of a different kind, if that seems like your kind of thing, the link is in the description below for that, as is the link for my Twitter account. I'm at Jackson Kruger, so give me a follow on there if that's your kind of thing. And also, of course, remember to hit the subscribe button on this channel. I do always appreciate it, and thanks again for watching to the end of the video.